Hello, everyone, and welcome to Deconstructor of Fun. This week in games, the special holiday unscripted episode number. What number are we on? 314, where we are not going to actually give you our insider takes on the news because we didn't prepare anything today. We're just joining on the podcast, and we're gonna just make it up as we go along. So, welcome to what we normally don't do on the podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Donahoe, and I fill the marketing and publishing role on our action RPG that we call This Week in Games. Today we have
Phil, Candy Crush gift card connoisseur, something about economy and game monetization.
Eric Kress, chief strategy and investing officer.
Mishka is apparently has crappy Wi-Fi and is bummed, but he cannot join us. Adam is also doing real work, I'm sure. So we are welcoming our other host that we don't get to see that often. So, Laura
Taranto, puzzle product queen, rejoining just for Boxing Day.
It's me, Ethan Levy. I'm here escaping my family the day after Christmas. I don't know how all you Christians do it. Christmas takes too much energy. Hanukkah is not this much work. I am exhausted. Absolutely exhausted from yesterday.
Well, I guess let's start that off and say it's the day after Christmas and the day after the first night of Hanukkah. Fellow Jews, thank you. Happy Hanukkah. And it's Boxing Day, but you know, Laura says that because she's partly Canadian.
What the fuck is Boxing Day?
It's the 26th in the UK. It's Boxing Day.
It's not even Canadian. It's a British thing. So
I don't know if it's Canadian. I mean, it might be, but it's definitely English for sure.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, there you go.
That gave me absolutely no explanation of what the fuck Boxing Day is.
I think it's just a holiday. It's just like a bank holiday.
It's just a holiday.
All right. Sounds stupid.
Somebody chat GPT that while we're keep going on here.
Kick-ass live ops need kick-ass tools. That's where Heroic Labs comes in. They just released a massive update to their Satori live ops platform. And having done my research, I can say with confidence that it's second to none. In a single product, you get everything you need, including event capture, player segmentation, feature flags, remote configuration, A/B testing, experimentation, live events calendar, messaging, retention grafing, analytics, and so much more. If you're serious about running live services in a game, get serious about the tools you use. Connect with Heroic Labs and make some serious cheese with your live ops.
All right. We have no organization, so I'll kick it off and just say we were going to do a little, I think, good news, bad news, or what's going on with each of us, because Kress and Kress's family has good news, bad news that he wanted to share.
All right. Yeah. Bad news, good news. I'll do bad news first. Mr. Jacob broke a bone in his ankle, so he is out for months. Probably will miss most of the season, if not all. He's bummed out, but never fear. There's far more basketball to play in the next 3.5 years, so he'll be fine. He's only a freshman. The great news is that my daughter, Natalie, got into University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school. For those that don't know, It's not Penn State. Pretty much been a goal and an aspiration to get into an Ivy League school since before she was conceived. But for some reason, and I couldn't put my finger on it, it's been a bit bittersweet, right? For the last, since she got accepted. The thing about daughters, sons are great, right? But they're like, you can just shove them around and wrestle with them and whatever. But daughters are different, right? When she was born, it like takes your breath away. Like how much you could love this little thing as much as you do the daughters. And that lasts until the teenage years, right? And that's when it really tests your mettle, right? And maybe Ethan, you don't have a teenager yet.
No, my oldest is 9. So.
Oh, well.
I'm a step monster to a teenage girl. I can attest to the Jekyll and Hyde nature that happens when hormones hit and come into play.
Yeah.
And they're these darling little, cutest little things that want to engage with you, and they look up to you longingly of, oh, you're such a hero to me. And then 3 days later, they're locked in their room on their phones and wear all black and don't want to talk to you ever again.
Yeah, and you want to think that your experience is going to be different, but it's not. So when Natalie was 11, I asked her, like, what do you want for your birthday? And she looked at me straight in the eye and she said, freedom. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Right? She says, I want a phone. I want you to stop looking at my text. And I want to go to the mall with my friends. All right. She basically wanted her independence or get the fuck away from us, basically. Is what the fuck that meant, right? And it was all kind of downhill from there, right? But it is a natural form of development. For the last 6 years, it's just been like this. Like, it's just, and it's not that she's mean per se. She just ignores me constantly, right? It was hard, right? So anyway, after 3 or 4 days after getting this news, I kind of realized that I was actually upset because she's actually officially leaving us, This is the official, like, she is gone, right? And despite the 6 years of being ignored, I am going to miss having her around. So I doubt she'll ever hear this, but I want to give her a heartfelt shout out. I love her. I'm incredibly proud of her and everything that she's achieved. And I can't wait to see where the journey takes her. So that's my update on the kids.
That is incredibly touching, actually, from our villain of the episode,
I
Eric
feel
Kress.
like if it's been a goal to get her to an Ivy League school since before she was born, that's going to bring her to therapy as the next step on her journey.
This is often the pushback of that goal. But just to be clear, my wife went to Penn, so that definitely helped the equation a bit. Oh, wow. She's in the bathroom listening to me right now.
the wife or the daughter? How much trouble are you in right now?
She just texted me. Aw.
Oh, she heard you? Oh,
the
wow.
whole thing. Oops.
Oh,
well. She'll never listen to the podcast. She's not that
Yeah.
interested in gaming.
Does anyone's significant other or family member listen to the podcast?
God, no. Let's keep it that way.
I think I made my wife listen to 15 minutes once. That was about it. She doesn't like me talking about my career or the industry, not on a podcast. So why would she listen to it?
Exactly. I can't get my wife to listen to me for more than like 10 seconds, right? And then she's off and doing her thing.
I've sent 1 or 2 episodes to my family. So my mother and my father are from the Bronx, New York. And so if I ever talk about them, I have to talk about them with a Bronx accent. And so I sent them, I don't know, like maybe one of my first episodes that I was on. And, oh, Jennifer, we're so proud of you. Oh, you're so smart. They have no idea what I'm talking about at all. My mom still thinks I work at Disneyland. When I told her I worked at Disney, she's like, oh, so you work at the rides and you do the... I'm like, no, Mom, I do licensing. What's licensing? Yeah. So this whole thing was just, they just thought it was cool that I was on a podcast. They had no idea what I was saying. All right, so let's do corrections.
Well, hold up. I got an update for my kids.
Okay.
I get my one,
all right. Let's
my
do more
one
banter.
cat token per quarter.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
There was a revolution that happened, or maybe a revelation. We bought Kaya a banana, and I've been trying to get this cat into this banana for the better course of a year. And a miracle happened. Kaya went into her banana.
Oh, God, there's a picture. Oh, my God.
And she looks super cute, and she'll never use the banana again. And there you go. That's my cat quarterly update.
What is the
God.
Is it just for cute pictures, or is there a reason for the banana's existence?
Just for cute pictures, basically.
If you're listening, this is like a flushy... It barely looks like a banana. It looks more like a lime to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just some color on this photo, but Phil's cat is sticking out of a banana couch for cats.
Banana cat bed.
bed.
It's a cat bed.
We really wanted them to go in
IAT
together.
right here. How much did this cost? How much
I think
was this cosmetic
like $20.
microtransaction?
It's $20 on Amazon. It was totally worth it. We got a small banana and they couldn't fit in it. And so we kept getting increasingly larger and larger bananas until we got this one.
Philip, you need to start making babies. Seriously.
Eric, you don't even want to know, man. Like, we actually got a stroller for the cats.
Oh, my God, you got a stroller?
I resisted it. I said no, but like Felix just wants to be in his little stroller. He like only wants to go outside for 30 seconds. You're not wrong, Eric. You're not wrong.
Yeah, real wow. We gotta have a chat with your wife.
Actually, I was thinking about doing a whole post on my cats because Dottie, who is the fattest cat on the planet.
That's a big girl.
Like my entire phone are pictures of my cats and not my wife. And so
Healthy.
well, yes, very, very healthy. And then Inky is the ninja who is like the skinniest little one who looks like a little worm. And so that's that's Inky. So I'll post pictures because she's adorable. Oh, I forgot one other thing. It's not a cat thing, but my wife sold the 1974 BMW 2002 that she rebuilt. So she finished it and we sold it to this young guy who lives in Santa Barbara and is like so excited. And
how much? May I ask how much you sold it for?
I mean, I guess you can ask. So we at 13,000.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow.
Kind of low. It was kind of low. It wasn't everything we had hoped for, but we wanted to close the chapter of the car because her new chapter is day trading, and that's her new hobby.
By the way, that was the first car I ever owned in college. Was the BMW 2002.
Oh,
that thing was dope. Mine was cherry. But
cherry. This is the Polaris Silver.
Wow.
So I'll post pictures of that one too because she basically learned on YouTube how to rebuild a car, had no experience ever working on any car, went to the University of YouTube, downloaded all of the books from the, like BMW and then rebuilt a car.
Wow.
It's pretty.
That's so
That's
cool.
impressive.
Yeah. She is so much cooler than me. All I do is get on a stupid podcast and talk like this.
Yeah,
Like
can I hang out with her? I mean, why am I hanging out with you?
I don't know. I really don't. Yeah. So yeah, next time you're down, like come and hang out with her because she's 10 times better than me.
I'm in the market for a Porsche. I'm getting my Porsche back.
Now
that the kids are so part of the good news I forgot the good news is now that she's leaving, right? I can get my Porsche back because I don't have to drive the kids around anymore, right? Jacob can drive almost anyway. So I get my 2-seater back.
Which one are you getting? 911?
Oh, 911, yeah. Most likely a S or GTS in the 991.1, if anyone knows Porsches. So it's the last naturally aspirated Porsches. They make the best sound, I would say. Not the fastest by any measure, but they are amazing, but older. But yeah, it's going to be cool. I can't wait. But of course, I'm looking for the right color combo. So I really want to get a dark blue one, but they're really hard to find. So I'm out there looking.
Laura, tell us, what have you been up to, girl?
Well, I feel like I have no kids and no pets. I feel like I should go upstairs and get my house plant and then just bring it down.
You have a boyfriend?
Oh yeah,
a friend.
At least the house plant is something more I take care of, I'd say. And at least it's its leaves are not wilting. It's not going to pen, but it's alive. So I feel like that's an accomplishment.
Your measure of success is that you haven't killed a plant yet this year?
I've had it for 2 years. It's thriving. It still has one flower. It's great.
Dude, you're ready for like 6 kids like Ethan, right?
Yeah.
Now that you've had a pet for 2 years.
Nope. Nope.
Seattle's still good? How's Seattle winter treating you, girl?
It hasn't snowed, which I'm grateful for because the area I'm in has tons of hills. When you get snow, it gets cold, you get ice. Was it last year or the year before? There were just the roads would freeze and cars that were parked would just start slowly sliding down the hills. And then my insurance premiums went crazy. So far, I'd say it's been a win. No snow, no ice, not particularly cold. We've got some sunshine, a couple good days. I don't know. I'm liking it. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's no California. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But
yeah, no. Ethan, a little update. What's going on?
I wasn't planning on making news today, but since this is an incredibly loose episode and our one thing that's prepared actually touches directly on my life, I might as well. So I exited my startup 5 months ago to GameFam. Actually, my UEFN startup, me and my partner Ibs joined GameFam, where I've been secretly working as the VP of game design for the past 5 months, focusing just on UEFN so far. We did this game, Lego Parkour Worlds, an official Lego game. It's like Laura, you'd like it. It's like an hour or so of Mario style platforming. I'm really happy with the quality of it I've worked on. And
while we're on the subject, I do want to do a huge correction for last week, right? Because it was like moronic what I said, right? Because I totally got the quote wrong and it was totally my fault. But anyway, my comment about no teams being profitable on Roblox and UEFN is absolutely incorrect and inaccurate, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when I was saying it, I was realizing I actually even knew that I was saying it wrong. There are definitely small teams and individuals making money profitably on the platform, particularly on Roblox. The correct quote, and it was a quote, is a friend close to this stuff, is that there's not a single venture-backed Roblox studio that wasn't successful before taking money that is profitable. And he suspects that it's the same for UEFN. You can't reliably make money yet on these platforms, and the best economics look like hyper casual without ad revenue for now. That was his comment, right? So basically, not a single venture-backed Roblox studio is profitable.
So GameFam is venture-backed. It's backed by friends of the podcast Play Ventures. I believe that we are a profitable company. I think someone got a quote here from Joe.
So Joe, of course, reached out right away and said, "You're an idiot."
Joe, I could do an impression, but I would like to keep my job in 2025, so I won't try and do Joe's voice.
Look, Joe doesn't fuck around, right? He's like, dude, look, I'll let anything go, but I'm not letting that go, you moron. No, he didn't call me a moron, but the tone of his text or his message was definitely, you were an idiot, right? I'm a moron for what I said last week. And then I said, here's what I am going to say. You tell me what you think, right? And so he's like, basically, GameFam is profitable in the back half of 24 once they start focusing on profitability and not growth. But clearly, by the way, that doesn't mean they're profitable in 2024. So they're still not profitable, just in the back half of 2024, right? And they have huge growth plans in 2025, all being cash flow positive, according to Mr. Joe. And then the spiel and the pitch. And what I like about Joe is the guy's never not pitching, not selling, right? This is based on our portfolio with several genre-leading games that net in the 7 figures per year in-app purchases and are advertising and require much smaller teams than mobile free-to-play games. It is true that many of the other VC-backed studios have no revenue at all, with perhaps one exception. This is a hyper-competitive space and is simply not built in the mobile free-to-play foundation, and most VC-backed companies are pursuing. So he feels that a lot of these VC studios are not pursuing the proper model for Roblox. And the pitch. This is what I love about him. Roblox is something new, different, and evolving, and it's a harbinger of a very different gaming future. As it continues to age up, and aging it is, Roblox is poised to be a significant disruptive force in the gaming and media business. Yes, you go. You preach it, Joe.
Hallelujah. Praise me.
Anyway, yeah, so correction and a little bit of a commentary for our friend Joe at GameFam, and evidently Ethan's boss.
And my boss.
I don't understand people like him, but I love people like him that have nonstop energy. They never stop. They're like the Energizers of Bunny. They just keep going,
He's like the consummate sales guy, right?
Yeah.
Like does not ever turn off the sales side of things, for good and for evil, I think.
I will say UEFN is a very challenging platform because you're competing with thousands and thousands of other teams, some with questionable grasp on IP rights. And you're also competing with Epic directly. Epic's released a lot of cool stuff just in the last month, like Ballistic and like Lego Block City, right? They're kind of GTA style, GTA Online roleplay game. And their Lego Odyssey, their survival game. Like, these are all really cool games, but I'm competing against them, and it's a completely unfair battlefield, right? They are now, which they weren't at the start of UEFN, they are taking the majority of the royalty engagement pool for themselves, thanks to the success of the games that they run on the platform. And it's unfair because they get to use tools and capabilities that are not released to the rest of us. So, like, I literally can't compete. I can't do a survival crafting game. I've looked at it. We can't. We just, like, the UI is not there as a creator to do a crafting system that would be at all, like, useful to the players. And what's one of the most successful things on the platform is a survival crafting game made by my friends at Lego and Epic. So it's it's a challenging platform.
How about the notion about monetization on the platform? Like, are they going to allow alternative monetization?
They're never going to. I mean, the alternative monetization that is allowed is what GameFam is great at, which is integrations with brands or doing bespoke games for brands.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
But they're never doing MTX.
They're never doing MTX. They're never doing gotcha.
They will because they will fail if they do not.
Yeah, I can
say that with absolute confidence that they will fail if they do not do this.
I think what you think failure is different than what Tim Sweeney thinks failure is.
Yeah, I agree with Ethan on that too.
It was at Unreal Fest, and Tim Sweeney's comments in the opening in 2023 and what they've written, like, it's absolutely clear that they have the opposite of interest of allowing us to sell IAP or do anything for V-Bucks. That's not what this is. Like,
it's a red line. It's an absolute red line for them. As long as Tim's in charge, like, they're not going to do gotcha or other monetization methods within, and that means it's going to fail for third party, basically. Like, there's just no way it could be successful for third party. It's going to be successful for Epic.
The challenge is, like, your job is basically to keep people engaged in Fortnite in between, you know, the highlights of seasons, and Epic pays you for that.
Yeah.
And the payout pools were great at the start in 2023. And now, like, I think on Fortnite GG, there's a chart somewhere that, like, their estimate is that Epic is taking something like 60 to 70% of the engagement payout pool for themselves with their Rocket League game and Lego game and Ballistic and Reloaded and this and that. And it's just like, sure, it hurt my feelings when all those VCs said no to me. We're not sold on UEFN as a platform yet, but it's just not standalone a platform that you can generate a VC sized outcome on.
Yeah, fuck that.
Epic's
Fuck
taking
that.
most of the pie.
That's such an epic fail, right? Oh God,
An epic fail.
Like, look, I want to be clear. I really do think that Epic can be successful without doing this, but there's no way third party can be successful without changing the monetization. This is impossible. There's no reason to build games for UEFN unless all that is just practice on Unreal, right?
Well,
like,
I would say it's incredibly fun. And, like, as somebody who has mostly done games that are like user interface on mobile phone, because, like, at the end of the day, that's what a puzzle game is or a puzzle RPG is. It was great. It was so much fun to do, like, a Mario style platformer, to do a third person looter shooter style game, and, like, have something that two people made playable in a couple of months. Like, so from that perspective, it's awesome. And the platform is getting better day to day. So, like, what you can do with one designer and one programmer and no server engineers and no art team and just buying assets off the asset store, it's really awesome and gratifying. But if you're trying to run, let's say, a 7-10 person team at, like, a 10,000 all in per month headcount, like, you can't do that. I mean, you would have to basically, as a small team, release one of the most profitable games on the platform and then grow the team to keep the engagement high based on already being profitable. And there's this game like this series Havoc Hotel. They're probably doing it with Havoc Hotel 2 and 3. But in terms of, this is not a platform that you can generate VC style, throw money into the rocket ship and watch it take off outcomes like you could on Facebook back in the day, or like you could on mobile. Like, those are really seismic platform shifts that I don't, we're all right. Like, and still hoping for the next.
But even an ongoing concern, a profitable ongoing concern, is going to be really challenging. They could have popularity for like a few weeks or a month or something and then fall off a cliff, right? And have to start all over. Let me just be clear. Yeah. You cannot scale games the way you can on mobile and continue to acquire users and bring them in the way you can, because you can't afford it, right? Because you're not making any fucking money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an impossible situation for developers on UEFN. It's really disappointing to me, because I thought this was going to be like a real big opportunity for growth in the industry and more for smaller indies to, like, showcase their wares. But this just doesn't seem like that's it at all.
I think it's still that. Like, I would say the platform it most resembles is Flash, the Flash games market. After, when the portal still existed, but, like, you couldn't reliably sell your game for a $5,000 exclusive deal to Newgrounds or Armor Games.
You're going to compare it to Flash? Are you kidding me?
A lot of great games came out of the Flash game portals in the web browser era. Like, a lot of great, very fun games, and a lot of developers trained up in that marketplace and went on to, like, I mean, I have a game over on my shelf, Last Stand Aftermath, which is a PS5 game that the developer started as a Flash developer and a very successful one. And that's a brand that he took from Flash, like from Armor Games, all the way through to PS5.
So you basically say UEFN is now training wheels for Steam?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, it's like amateur.
But I think that's a thing, right? Like, especially
that
when
was
you
part of the
think of the
strategy.
engine. Yeah, when you think of how the engine's going to evolve, that UEFN and UE are going to combine one day in UE6.
But
like-
if you can't make money on the platform that you're building for, then you're just basically going to practice there and then bring it on to another platform where you actually can make money?
Yep, EGS, right? Because you're going to have the same
I
coding
don't think that-
language,
I don't
and you're
think
going to
that was
roll
the
it right
goal.
off.
I don't think that was the goal.
I completely agree with you. I don't think, I mean, maybe it was the goal in some PowerPoint presentation, but yeah.
You know, maybe that was the hypothesis of a pitch deck that one might have gotten turned down from by all the early stage gaming investors. Maybe that was a core part of a hypothesis somewhere that you would build a community and a brand.
Step into the future of game monetization with Xsolla, the premier partner for game developers seeking to expand their reach and revenue. Xsolla provides a robust suite of tools designed to enhance user acquisition, manage subscriptions, and streamline payment solutions worldwide. Unlock new markets and maximize profitability through their customized, secure payment architecture and dedicated support team. Xsolla, powering game developers to achieve global success.
This podcast is brought to you by AppsFlyer. In today's digital world, understanding your app's journey from discovery to download is more than just insightful, it's essential. Enter AppsFlyer, the leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics that allows you to measure the full potential of your marketing efforts, making every ad dollar work smarter. With AppsFlyer, that's your new reality. Dive deep into data-driven insights that reveal exactly where your users come from and how they'll interact with your app. AppsFlyer, where your app's potential meets performance. Okay, well, let's wave our magic wand. If you were the great Tim Sweeney and you could do anything to make this better, what would you do?
I would kick Epic out of the engagement payout pool. I might shrink it from that 40% of Fortnite revenue down to something more realistic. But like, if they're taking 70% of the money using tools to create games that we don't have access to, like, what's the fucking point? What am I even doing? Right.
Actually,
so I would kick Epic out and I would shrink the engagement pool. And that to me would make it a platform more worth developing for if you don't have an unfair advantage like GameFam has.
But that doesn't solve the underlying problem, right? Where you can't design games to make money, right? You design games for engagement, and that's a limited pool of money. Like the spend depth is not there in order to really generate outsized returns.
Not every platform has to generate games that can make $650 million. We have mobile, so Fortnite doesn't have to be that.
Maybe we could start with $6.5 million. Maybe that would be a good
There are
place
games
to...
that have made that much money.
There are,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Pit has definitely made way more than that. Like the guy who made the Pit is definitely on a boat. So
very disappointing.
Okay, so what else? What else? You would change the rev share pool.
Yeah, I would kick Epic out. I would shrink it accordingly.
Okay.
It's just unfair to compete against Epic. Larger teams, more time, and tools that they don't give to the rest of us. That's just unfair.
Okay. What else? Discovery. I think I've heard.
Well, I know they're constantly working on Discovery. Like they're probably on their like 700th version of the Fortnite algorithm. So I'm not going to comment on anything that I know is a constant work in motion. This is going to again sound insane. I only have 100 analytic events, and the analytic events can't have any payload with them. It can only be count that something fired. So like, yeah, Phil's eyes, for those just listening, his eyebrows went all the way up. Basically, no payloads, no metadata. So like the most useful thing the analytics are good for are creating level funnels. Like in our Lego parkour worlds, like players who started, how many of them got this far, and then figuring out what levels people are dropping off at and improving them. It's good for that and good for saying like in our Obby on a Bike game, we just rolled out a set of features right before Christmas. And it's like, is anybody engaging with the playtime rewards feature? Right? Just a pure binary yes or no per unit, but like you really can't do a lot with the analytics. So I would like a lot more abilities there so that I could, cut data by platform, for instance, or, like more run proper tests to try and boost the engagement in my game. Because it's tough. It's really tough with just 100 events.
What about the licensed content? I think when I talked to you a while ago, we were talking about like they just did this integration with Turtles where you can make a Turtles game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but you have to pay 15%. Like, what if that was Star Wars? What if that was, I don't know, Batman? What if it was
all those
Dune?
Things would be cool, but more for other, like more in that amateur game developer sense, because if you make a Turtles game, 15% of your engagement revenue goes to Paramount. If you make a Legos game, 15% of it goes to Lego. So already an incredibly difficult platform to build on. Why am I going to bother with the Turtles game when I'm losing 15% of what revenue I could have? And I don't see enough additional promotion on the platform to make up for that 15%, right? Like if Turtle games were just like front and center, then of course, like it would be worth it. If you're not doing it for the joy of making a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, there's just not a lot of reason to do that instead of a vanilla Fortnite experience.
Oh, interesting. Any other magic wand advice? This is fascinating. This is like if you were Tim Sweeney for a day,
just give us everything you have. That's it. If you can make a survival crafting game, why can't I?
And I thought they had announced this a long time ago, Ethan, but it looks like they veered away from that. Like I thought they said they're going to be building Fortnite
eventually. It'll come eventually, I'm sure. But like there's going to be, by the time it's released, an 18-month lag between Lego Odyssey and my ability to do a crafting game. Like that's just not a fair competitive environment.
Do you think that's what players want to do though? Like,
oh yeah, Lego Odyssey is one of the most popular experiences on the platform. People at this audience, if you think of their age and that they've grown up on Minecraft and other games, survival crafting games where crafting's at the core, and how successful the Lego game is, they absolutely want it, right? And just the ability to take two things from my inventory and turn them into something else in my inventory actually has an incredible amount of uses beyond just crafting. We used it extensively for different reward and event harness features in Legendary Game of Heroes, for instance. And that's a pretty common thing in RPGs. So just like there's a lot you could do if you had more UI capabilities than we have currently.
Did you try to make something in Roblox?
I haven't done anything in Roblox.
Okay,
personally.
So you've only been on the UEFN
Roblox
side.
you can do a lot more in terms of the breadth of genres and types of games you can build.
Yeah. I mean, they've been at it for like 12 plus years, so they probably have a lot more tools.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Any other UEFN tidbits, gang? Or Laura, do you want to talk about puzzles, Royale Kingdom, or anything? So as a player, can I just say that I do think that in Crest, you said you were kind of yelling at me last week. As a player, I do find Royale Kingdom from our friends at Dream cannibalistic to me as a player versus Royal Match. I'm level 650 on Royale Kingdom, and it feels like the same game.
They are very similar. They are very, very similar. I actually have not checked in on it since I gave my little tidbit to Neil Long at mobilegamer.biz. There are distinct differences, but there is a lot of similarities. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some cannibalization. I think the question for me is going to be if they're going to take players from Royal Match and bring them over to Royal Kingdom, which I believe is a fundamentally more difficult game in terms of level by level attempts for success. You're going to need to play more levels over and over again to win those levels. Can they monetize them better? So that is something I would need to take a look at. How long is it? About a month? Maybe in a couple more weeks, have a look, right. See how the revenue's doing. I want to look at what the ARPDAU is in the US. Also compare that to Royal Match. I mean, the ideal would be you have two distinct audiences, but if you're going to make a match 3 game with similar theme, with similar levels, similar feel, you're still going to end up with probably a large overlap of those same players that is going to cannibalize your first game. So but I'm hopeful. I'm just excited. It's there hasn't been that many new releases this year, especially in puzzle. I'm just excited. We even had like a new match 3 game, technically hard launch this past year.
Ooh, doesn't look good as I pull up.
Now you pulled it up.
So I've got Royale Kingdom, downloads and revenue for all countries, all devices, last 90 days. Oh, looks like it's going up. The little revenue looks.
It's still pretty small.
Yeah,
let's see. I mean, this is
200,000 a day versus 3 million a day.
Yeah, 200K a day is not bad.
It takes time to build up your DAU and for those things to stack, which is why we looked at category rankings between the two, days since launch basis. I don't know if this is the best way necessarily to look at this at this stage. I agree it needs a little bit more time, but I think it's unfair to compare the two on this basis.
I would agree. I mean, Royal Match, if I remember their chart correctly, when they first launched, it was a slope. It took a while to get to where it was. And they had to, think of, for anyone out there who played Royal Match in soft launch, I did. I don't even think it had half the live ops. I don't even remember if it had any live ops. It was very lightweight. They've been layering features and then features in on top of features on top of features since it came out 2020. So over the last 4 years, it's going to take time for Royale Kingdom to do the same thing. And also, when Royal Match started releasing a lot of their live ops events, some of them were repeats and copies and some of them were not. You still got to be able to find the right types of live ops that will fit for the game. So this is why I don't want to I'm waiting. And I do want to pick at, when I was looking at Royal Match, if I remember the ARPDAU for the US, it was something insane. It was like either $3 or $4. It was pretty high relative to the other countries for Royal Match. And so I'd be curious. I want to see how the US performs for Royale Kingdom, but not yet. I do want to give it some time.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Good question, though.
Phil, you wanna also wait on Marvel Rivals versus what's our how we're tracking on shooters?
Yeah, let's definitely revisit that in 2025. I will say that any optimism I had has quickly vanished. It looks like we're having a linear decline for both Marvel Rivals and for Path of Exile 2. Oh. Meanwhile, Delta Force is steady Eddie. And there could be an inflection point in a couple months where Delta Force overtakes both of them just by not declining while the other two continue to decline. We'll continue to track this one. Definitely one of the major storylines entering 2025 is what's going to happen to these games. But I would say so far, it looks like it's following the path we've seen for a lot of other hot new releases this year, which is hot start and then massive decline. Delta Force, I don't quite have an explanation for why it's been so steady. I was looking at VG Insights and they said 13% of the players are in China, which is really bizarre to me. I guess they're VPNing in because remember, the game is distributed on Tencent's platform in China. You don't need to do the global version of Steam if you're in China. Maybe they're just trying to destroy some Europeans and Americans on global servers. Yeah. I have question marks around why Delta Force has been so steady. It doesn't pass a sniff test for me. Normally you see more shape to the PSU curves, more interday inflection points, and we don't see that here. But if you, again, just look at the numbers from a high level, Delta Force, Path of Exile, linear declines, and Delta Force has been steady Eddie.
How's the Super Vive?
Oh, it's done. It's done. It's toast. It's toast. It's going with the Mountaintop Games Spectre Divide. It's looking really bad. I mean, again, it all comes down to China for them. I think it's do or die. And I would say there's another podcast segment I would love for Michigan to have with some of these founders in 2025. When you have all this capital and money you've invested, these awesome, I would argue, great theses about the games that they're building, and then you kind of bomb out, right outside the gate. What do you do next? Do you try to revive this? Do you immediately move on to your new project? I think that's a very tough situation to be in as a founder on what you do once you have these early returns. And I'd be very curious to see what's going through these founders' heads. Obviously, the statute of limitations probably won't pass for another couple of years, but I'm very curious about how these founders are approaching their problems.
Crazy. Well, one final thing maybe for us to talk about is getting ready for the Golden Twig Awards. I don't know why we named it the Golden Twig Awards and not just the Deconstructor of Fun Awards, but hey, it is what it is.
So winning the 2024 Worst Branded Game Award show is...
Yeah. Well, we actually did a little survey last year and we were like, what should the name be? And it was pretty much torn with Deconstructor of Fun Awards and the Golden Twig Awards. Mishka was really pushing for that one. All right, so let me just do a quick review of last year's 2023 topics and winners to give you a sense of. I don't think we're going to record it next week. I think we're taking next week off, and then we'll probably have to get ready for the Golden Twigs in the first week of January. So number one, topic of the year was the Unity runtime fee. Oh my God.
Really?
Feels like 2023. So this is 2023.
God.
Yeah, this is like not this year, right? Like, so this is, remember that was like, oh my God, that was the news story that kept on giving. Correction of the year, Microsoft won't acquire Activision. I think, Cress, we gave you an award for that.
Yeah, it's sitting right behind me. I'm on the honor.
The honor is yours. Most damage taken, Embracer, which is a repeat winner. Is that going to, maybe that gets, we should just keep giving it to, we should just have a category for Embracer.
No, yeah, it's the Embracer Award.
Yeah, which is
Going
like,
forward.
could mean like so many different things.
It uses as a verb.
Most disappointing game, Starfield from Bethesda.
I think it's going to be hard to beat Justice League. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League this year.
Yeah. That's
It's
well, no,
funny.
Concord.
Yeah, Concord.
Well, but Concord is an original IP that nobody was hyped about. Like, there is a lot of talent at that studio that built that game, but like Rocksteady made some of the best games that have ever existed with the Batman games.
Yeah.
And
Arkham.
for them to go from that to kill the Justice League, it's going to be hard to top that Game of the Year multi-award winner down to. I saw it on the Steam sale for $350 and I thought, oh, I'll check it out for $350. And then I remembered I already had it for free on the Epic Game Store. So,
Oh my God.
you know.
Well, maybe we need a new category, which is how far the mighty have fallen.
That's mean. Everybody at Rockstar is a better game developer than I am. So even with Kill the Justice League. So
I probably have the sense, having been at a licensor, that it's not all their fault. There's a lot of pressure that comes when you have a licensed game that doesn't work. Mice Nuts. Oh, I love our category. So this is our best financially meaningless game. Pikmin 4. I think Laura and Ethan, you're fans.
yeah. Is it going to be Astrobot? Eric, would you say Astrobot is Mice Nuts, or has it sold enough copies?
No, I think that's done well enough.
Yeah.
But actually, it fits the category, like well received, but not financially meaningful.
What other contenders for Mice Nuts Game of the Year are there?
I don't know. That's a tough one this year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to think about that.
What were the unit sales of Echoes of Wisdom?
The Zelda.
Zelda
I'm sure
one?
that's
Oh,
sold
no.
well enough.
That could be.
Super well received. It definitely hasn't sold as much as the rest of the
All right,
series.
we're gonna have to get these out just to get ideas because
Yeah. So everyone, like, go in Slack. I guess I'll post the categories and maybe, or do like some sort of Google survey and ask people to submit nominees, because I think we're struggling a little bit on that one. And I love that category. Most questionable move, Netflix games.
they may get a repeat on this one, right?
Oh my God.
Wait,
But-
but
yeah,
when
go
did the GTA thing happen last year?
No, well,
Well, this year was the GTA delisting, right?
correct.
Yeah, okay, right. We weren't aware of it. Yeah, so maybe they can be nominated twice in a row.
Oh. Well, speaking of this, so Squid Games 2, season 2 came out last night. I think it came out midnight Pacific time on Christmas Day. Did you hear that there's some sort of like interaction between the mobile game and the show? There's supposed to be something where there's codes or some sort of interaction. I thought that could be cool, whatever that ends up being. Cress, you're always like, what could they possibly do differently that nobody else could do to save them? Not that it's going to save them, but I'm interested to see if that's cool or not. Although I'm reading reviews that the game is not that great.
Oh.
Because
Well,
it's like
of course not.
Fall Guys and it's
Yeah.
not
There's
like
nothing to do with the show.
thematically, kind of
Yeah.
that type of thing. Most brilliant move. Oh, interesting. Lego and Fortnite. I think I pushed for this a lot. I thought that would really extend the franchise for Fortnite, take it younger.
Sony taking 10% of the From Software owner. Is that going to go? It feels like one of the great moves of the year this year.
That was a really good move. And that they're at the height. Yeah. That's smart.
Crushed it was Monopoly Go. the gift that keeps on giving.
Call of Duty has to be the hero this year.
Infinity Nikki.
Oh, stop.
How's
Ethan.
that doing?
There's no way we were getting out of this podcast without him mentioning that shit, dude. Get out of town.
Infinity Nikki's
I
doing
had to
really
delete
well,
it,
isn't it?
dude. I was thinking of you. I'm like, oh my God, I am becoming a perv. I got to delete this thing immediately, right? What a fucking pervy game that is. Oh my Lord. All right. No, that would not be in the crushed it category.
I think you got to put Pokemon in it.
Oh, Pokemon TCG?
Yeah.
I think it's too much money too quickly in the end. I mean,
How's it doing? Is it still crushing it?
so remember we were talking about last week, they ran their first live ops event, which is, I think it was a 9-day event, and they had a revenue spike, which is the highest they've had, but it's very close to where they were at the beginning of the year, and their downloads also had an uptick. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not there's any hangover effect from this live ops event. We were seeing very small declines week over week in downloads and some softness in revenue. So we'll see how it does in 2025. I don't think it's going to do $1 billion, but I'm very curious to see this one.
I bet Dungeon and Fighter Mobile is going to deserve this crushed it
That's
award.
true.
It's on the decline.
Yeah.
I know,
been on a
but
huge
But it's already
decline.
done over 800 million in China.
True.
China only.
True. Yep.
very
I think that's fair.
localized.
I think that's fair.
I
Is
would
it starting
be
to look
very
like a-
happy with $800 million.
Yeah. I want to coin the term. So we have shark fin. I think we need Stegosaurus. You got nice little curve up, comes down a little bit, got a little bit on the tail, little spikes on the tail. Let's see what happens at the end here, because it looks like it had that initial curve, did really well for revenue. It might be the first tail spike. Going back to Pokemon TCG.
They probably just need to figure out live ops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
they do.
If they actually have a good live ops calendar of introducing new characters and changing meta, I don't know, like doing what these things do, they could keep this going for a long time.
Yeah, makes sense. Our last category was the worst layoffs, which Embracer also won.
I think I'm going to win this after getting fired for being on this podcast.
This is a terrible category. I don't even know. That's
Yeah. That sounds like a very Mishka category.
yeah. Maybe like the worst business move. Oh no, we have most questionable move. All right, we might have to rethink that one. But actually, the layoffs were not nearly as bad this year as they were last year, right?
Well, I don't know if you remember, January of 24 was, I think there were more layoffs in January of 24 than all of 23, if I remember that stat correctly. And then Microsoft had like 2 rounds of layoffs where they did January and then again in like, I don't know, March, April, May or something like that. I had a lot of friends who were on Call of Duty Mobile, Warzone, remember? RIP Warzone.
Oh, that flamed out so fast. We forgot about it.
I know. So I knew a lot of people at Activision Mobile and Blizzard folks and Microsoft folks who got let go. So there were a lot there, but there were tons of companies with layoffs. Might be difficult to pick one. Anyway, so those are the 9 categories of last year's Golden Twigs. We'll think about posting those and getting, people can submit their nominees. That'd be super helpful for us, or new categories.
What are we all looking forward to in 2025?
Well, I mean, I'll say something on this one. So I mean, this year has been really terrible, right? Like it's just tons of layoffs. The venture communities like running for cover out of gaming. Companies kind of pulling back on acquisitions, and IPO market is shut down. Like in general, like this like really low sentiment for gaming overall, like from the investment community and all that stuff. It's just as bad as it gets. And this kind of typically happens like in these cycles, right? It happened in 2000, 2008. But behind that though, things are actually not that bad, right? Mobile is up like high single digits this year and is likely going to be up maybe half of that next year. Actually, console PC is actually relatively stable for not a big year for releases. So that's not bad at all. And then the IPO market's coming back, not for gaming, but definitely for other categories. So it's tough to be the critic or the cynic in a market that's so shitty because everyone thinks you're just fucking being mean, right? Like you're just punching when they're down. So I've gotten a lot of feedback this year about that being too mean. But what I will say is that next year is going to be a shit ton better, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's 2 things, right? Yeah. Switch 2 and GTA 6.
Yeah, except that mobile didn't have any big releases this year, so mobile might be a little bit struggling to grow compared to last year, given Monopoly Go and Last War and all those other games that did well. But yeah, I think they should be up like small singles at the mobile, and then console. Yeah, and between Switch 2 and GTA, they should be up both hardware and software, maybe even double digits, right? So like, I think people will start to feel like things are coming back and they're getting the wind is at the back type thing. And like, we won't see as many layoffs at all, I don't think, next year. We'll see some failures of some of these venture-backed companies that never made sense to begin with. But I think it'll feel, I think, a lot more positive. And the message for me is not going to be any different. I'm still going to be critical. I'm still going to be cynical. So like, that ain't changing. But in the environment that we're in, it might be received a bit better, right? In theory, right? So I'm excited for 2025. How about that? In my cynical
okay
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had read some rumors that they might announce the Switch 2 date in January, that
They
coming
said
for
that they're going to announce the Switch 2 by the end of March.
Yeah.
So January would make sense. As I've said many times, I think generally they want to not announce before the holiday so they can still sell some Switch, right? And so it makes sense to announce in January, and then hopefully they have pricing and probably not pricing, but definitely hopefully release timing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of rumors around a lot of the accessories are kind of being shown, the cases or the controllers, and so we're getting close to that being a major thing. And then I don't think we'll ever see Laura again, because she's going to get her Switch 2 and play every Nintendo game imaginable.
I was just waiting for them to come out with more of those. So I started playing Brothership, which was released recently. It was not, I mean, it's interesting, but aside from the Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom, I liked Wonder. I'm waiting for more content, and I'm hoping they're basically saving it, and then they're just going to throw it all at us. Here's a Switch 2. Here's a great new Mario game. Here's another Zelda game for you. It's felt a little bit like a drought.
Oh, hello, Phil.
Is that a landline? We actually have a landline? What the fuck is that? I haven't heard that for like a decade.
Oh, that's right, Phil. I think you're in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm right by Epic Games.
You're back stateside, dude. Nice.
Go say hello to Tim. I grew up by there. By the way, Epic Games, do something with Carry Crossroads. God damn it. You promised you were going to do something when you bought the property, and you've done nothing. It's supposed to be a public-private partnership. Give me my parks and tennis court. Carry Crossroads. It was a really shitty mall they bought. They were going to renovate everything.
Oh, right.
And they've done nothing with it.
Like $100 million office complex.
Yep. And then COVID hit, remote work, all that stuff. But let go of the lease, sell it. I mean, they bought it outright, which is very strange. I didn't know they wanted to become a real estate company, but do something with the property, damn it.
It's like Zynga. Do you remember when Zynga owned the San Francisco property, and that was like the biggest like asset that they had in their entire
when the stock was at 250?
Exactly.
That was like half their market value was in the fucking property.
It was a lovely. That's where I worked. Lovely property. Now they're in San Mateo, which is by a Whole Foods. Not nearly as sexy as it used to be. But Ethan, while we had you, I needed to ask you about all of the handheld news. I know how you love your handhelds, and so there's all the rumors. Tell me, how are you feeling about the handheld news?
I mean, just the Steam Deck is so good. The UX on it is so great that like buying a more expensive thing, but that forces me to go through Windows 10 or Windows 11 on my handheld. Like, I'm not really interested. I got AR glasses that you click in and it's like you're playing on a 130-inch screen. It is awesome. I played this game Dome Keeper for an hour last night. I played Armored Core 6 on my Steam Deck, laying down in bed with these AR glasses that make it feel like I'm on a giant screen. It's amazing. I love it.
I didn't even know you could do this.
Dude, you live in the world of niche.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't live in the real world, Ethan.
But how much of the Steam revenue do you think Steam Deck is driving?
No idea.
Like
1%.
No, I think the attach rate on Steam Deck owners is ridiculous.
It's always number one in the Steam top selling charts, the top grossing charts. Yeah, I think it's actually making quite a bit of money for Valve. I mean, as a share of company revenue, I mean, it's probably not. I'd be interested to see if it's making more than Dota. Certainly not more than the.
You guys are out of your fucking minds. What are we talking about? Like, dude, you don't sell hardware profitably, right? Like it's not a profitable enterprise compared to Dota.
Not talking about profitability, just talking about gross revenue.
Get out of your minds. Just
I mean,
stop.
all
It's
of my
a few
spending
million.
in the past 2 years has shifted from PS5 and mobile to Steam Deck. It's all I spend money on, games wise. So like by selling me something that I love, they recaptured like $2,000 a year.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Wait,
All right.
also on Armored Core, did you watch Ethan the Secret Level?
No, I haven't watched Secret Level yet.
All right. Well, yeah, we've been at this an hour, completely
that's- yeah.
unscripted. Felt good. Anyone want to say any happy holidays, happy end of 24 before we're out?
Since we celebrate both in my household, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, have a great restful New Year, everybody. Don't drink and drive.
Keep the ARPU pumping.
Wait, let's look forward to next year. I think next year will be a lot better for everybody. So let's exciting happy fucking New Year to the gaming space.
Happy fucking New Year. Don't drink and drive.
All right. Happy fucking New Year, guys. What a pleasure to talk to you every week. And I just am thankful that I get a chance to be on a podcast with other smart people who make me smarter. So thank you guys and see you next year.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. As a fan of the show, it would help us out if you'd subscribe and leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Those stars and likes, while a small action on your part, mean a lot to us and help to grow the show. More importantly, are you a member of the Deconstructor of Fun Slack group? If you have 5 years or more of games industry experience, go to deconstructorofun.com/Slack and apply to join. Join the games industry best professional community filled with peers always willing to lend a hand, or subscribe to our newsletter to get all the latest insights from the Deconstructor of Fun content creators. Thanks for listening.